Now here we are, coming up, the recap from episode 2. Just in case you've forgotten, over the coffee break.
Yes, an alley in Turnham Green.
Is that where it was shot at? I suddenly gone very echoey.
Yes, you're not near your microphone.
I'm obviously standing
It's a
behind
special effect.
Elizabeth.
Oh, there we are.
Yes.
You see.
Ah, now I'm on mic.
I do like the leering they do to camera.
Well, yes, and of course the way they walk up to the camera so the lens distorts their faces. Makes them look very sinister.
Look!
It's a Titanic prop.
It is, isn't it?
Yes, you could ring down to the engine room with that, couldn't you?
A little bit of psycho music here. Just as he's stabbing into the shower curtain.
That's Kim Smith. Remember Kim Smith?
There, I see that coming into the camera they were told to do to distort their faces.
Now, does anyone know whose hand that was?
No, do you?
No, I can't remember if I did it, because I did the white face with the...
I don't think so, because the nails aren't bitten to the core, are they?
Yeah, there's not a cigarette in them.
What was the white face?
They painted my face white and they projected these kind of like lines, like circles on it, like loads, and it
Makes you look remarkably like you do now, really. That was a close-up of vomit from the canteen.
Yeah.
Meant to look like Andromeda.
I'm just fascinated. What was this? Sorry, the lights on your face? What?
It was just, I think it was a publicity shot of just like the Tomorrow People kind of spooky.
That was Elizabeth. Jaundice to her, Tim.
Yes, those white polo neck sweaters were very trendy in
They
those
were,
days,
weren't
they?
they? They're back in.
And the camel coat.
Oh,
There's my line. I remember this. I couldn't remember
Yes,
at the
look
time.
look at the effect I have on them. They're snivelling little cows run away as soon as they see John.
You all right, Elizabeth?
Yes, thanks. You got here just in time. Bullying yobs. I wish we weren't so peaceful. Then I'd show them.
That wasn't the one I was meant to say. It was like bullying yobs. I wish we weren't quite so non-violent. But I really couldn't say it, and it was about midnight, and everyone was getting really pissed off with me.
You said it perfectly just now.
I know, it's from 30 years later.
It's amazing what 30 years of practice will do, isn't it?
did they have to cut the frenum on your tongue or something?
That's right, yes. They took out this kind of like, then I could say my threes. Oh, look.
Of course, the other
Been
thing...
wrecked.
More caffeine, this time coffee.
Is that coffee?
I don't know, actually.
It's like Guinness, actually.
Oh, no. Stephen, what have you done to the video?
What have you done to your flares?
Like this, someone must have smashed it. And the recording tape is missing.
I mean, again, just look at it, the size of that damn thing compared with a thing nowadays, the size of a cigarette packet.
No, not necessarily.
I bet that turns up as a spaceship later on in the series. Huh?
People. Perhaps it or someone else is controlling Robert.
Good close-up.
We ought to keep an eye on Robert from now
A bit too long for my liking, actually. Should be
Hair
should be
looks-
back on me by now.
Hair looks a bit wild.
See, they cut to the balls rather than stay on you.
Yeah. Well, Tim has got more photogenic balls than the rest of us. And more balls than all of us put together, I think. Particularly when Elizabeth's in the shot.
Look at this film of battles between
There we are, see, World Wide Web.
in Tokyo. Some reports say that the police themselves took sides, some with the blue and some with the green.
They seem to use, not here, but a lot of the stock footage seems to be from the 1968, is it?
Yes,
Paris
that was the
riots?
bad year, yes. Well, it was worldwide, it wasn't just Paris. It was in London as well.
Look, what I want you to do tomorrow is keep an eye on Robert.
I noticed a lot of French banners being held up.
Yes. Lots of French letters being waved about.
Watch your way,
I know,
boy.
a
I
pound
don't
for it.
want 8.5 carat gold. What you go on?
75
get
pence
out.
in.
Waiting my time.
Bit of powder on the back of his costume there.
That's right, yeah.
That came out of Oliver, didn't it? Instead of the beard.
It does look something out of
I mean,
Charles Dickens' pantomime.
he's a very good actor, Nigel, but I did feel that some of these were a bit more caricature than they perhaps should have been.
You have in the window.
The painting in the window.
He's trying to do like a Sellers, isn't he?
Is this the one, Sonny?
Oh, no, it's not that one.
Sonny.
Boy, which one do you want?
It's a bit difficult to describe, really. It's got a white wood frame and,
White wood frame.
yeah, and a sort of funny shape.
Oh, the weather.
Yes, that must
Are you making stuff up there?
Oh, I was always making stuff up. I never bothered to learn my lines word perfect. I always felt that it worked a lot better if you knew what the scene was all about. And you obviously had to give people their cue lines, but otherwise, I think Peter will agree it was never spot on, was it?
No. You did yours deliberately. I just forgot my lines.
Oh, yeah. Yes, sir. Well, I think I can get it out for you. Yeah. That's very good.
So you're going to pay a whole £1 for it?
Yes. Yes. Well, as I say, this was within a year or so of decimal currency, so I think we were all thinking in shillings and pence, probably.
A little
All
£2,
right.
I mean,
How much? How much?
£4.
£2.50, not a penny more.
£3.50. I mean, nights of work it took him.
Tomorrow people can jaunt into banks and nick their money.
Well, I think Tim made the note anyway, didn't he?
Wooden till.
Pound in the till, pound in the pocket.
See your grandson.
Can't. He's not here. He's away at school.
Yes, that beer isn't working.
Right, what's it supposed to be
I don't
doing?
know. Sticking to his face, I would have thought would have been first.
So it was wise to bring it in here.
No, neither am I. Is there any other way you can give it a detailed examination?
No.
Yeah, that's the trouble. If you're fixed to the wall, Tim, you can't.
Interesting about Robert.
Oh, I wonder if it's the same thing I found out.
Probably. Robert lives at the shop where we saw that other picture.
Yes. I went over there this afternoon. I met his grandfather. I bought the painting.
Strange beard.
They'll twist a little
Yes.
£3 for it.
And I'm going there after school.
Cheap.
I've been invited.
Remind me, Tim, to get that back from petty cash.
What has he been doing to get those strange marks on his coat?
He lived in a grubby cellar.
Yes? Are we clear?
An old Etonian by the look of his tie.
I brought a friend from school.
A friend?
See?
This is Stephen, Grandfather.
Oh, yes.
Never mind the quality, feel the width.
Yes, and white snot all over me.
Sold it.
Yeah.
I wanted to keep it.
Oh, but I got you a very good price for it, you see. I got, let's see now, 30 shillings for it.
You mean £1.50, Grandfather?
Yes, there we
No,
are.
it's
There's the
euro. How
references.
much is that in euros?
To the cash. Ah. Yeah. There we are. I think it's all here.
£1.50. When did decimalisation come in? Was it
71.
71. So this was about 73, was
That's what
it?
I'm saying. That's why the reference is there to shillings. People would have understood it then. They wouldn't know.
Cellar.
Oh, yes.
Come on, Stephen.
I'll give you a shilling for it. I have a sweetie instead.
So-
That's not in the script. is
no,
it?
I think he was just
Well, I think it
barking
was,
mad.
otherwise
Was
the
it?
sweet wouldn't have been there. I think
Oh,
it
that's
must have
true.
been.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's true. Spooky sound.
The Thames cat having its neck wrung to get that sound effect.
Hey, you've been busy.
Yes.
Boxes of blue and green badges. Do you make these down here too?
I have a few friends who help.
And your grandfather?
They work at Thames Television Property Department.
He's not really my grandfather, you know.
No.
No.
Oh.
He just looks after me. He always has done since
Since?
his...
I can't remember where he's supposed to be from. Does he come from another planet?
He does.
Yes, he's
He
an
does come
alien.
from another planet. His,
I call him
Yes, he needs to swarm.
Better than an orphanage.
Oh, that's right.
That's right.
yes.
That's right.
Do you know who your parents were?
Sort of.
You're lucky, really. I bet your grandfather isn't always turning off the telly in the middle of a good horror film.
No, but we don't have TV. I wouldn't have time to watch it anyway.
You're a
How
strange.
were you with all the science fiction stuff? Was it the kind of thing you were into, or did you?
Oh, yeah, well, I was into Lost in Space.
Silly and possibly dangerous.
Peter was also into extreme horror, as I think all teenagers are. They go through a gory phase of taking great pride in being able to watch ghastly things without being affected. Whenever you went round to his house, he always had some horror movie or horror poster on the wall or whatever it was.
Dracula. Yeah, I saw all the Dracula films.
Of course, horror films in the 70s were a bit of a joke, actually. They weren't really nasty and sick like they are nowadays.
I brought you here because I thought you and I could be friends.
But sci-fi, I don't know what you like, Nick. What was your era of teens? I suppose it would have been in...
Well, sci-fi in the 50s was pathetic. And all those sort of American black and white B-movie stuff. You know, the blob from outer space and all that sort of stuff.
Just a story.
Very poor special effects, usually in black and white. I used to quite enjoy it. I still quite enjoy watching them, actually. And the unsophisticated things are quite amusing. But this is the problem. Now everything's computer generated. These special effects are totally unacceptable. I'm not saying they were brilliant at the time, but they were more acceptable then than they would be now.
Oh, good. Put it up over there, will you?
But I think it adds to the quality of this show that if they did do it, it's like when they did the New Tomorrow People, the Australian actors, and it just didn't work because it had.
Yes. Stand back a bit.
I think it would have been nicer to stick back with this format.
What is
different
in-
actors maybe, but
What is interesting here is the imaginative use of colour everywhere. And it is a lot of it's very pretty, visually very pretty. I mean, this particular scene's a bad example because it's pretty monochrome, but there's a lot of colour in it, and it's used to good effect.
But the 70s was a very colourful time, wasn't it, really, with the fashion and...
Yeah, but I mean, not everybody
On
had colour.
television,
You forget that not everybody had colour television by any means.
No, it's true. We did because we were on television and we could afford it.
That's right.
And I'd laugh at my friends with just a
Black and white,
radio.
black and white television.
Nicholas, you looked a little more frightened of that explosion than the
You were
other two.
nearer, wasn't you?
Yes, well, it was probably one of those special effects that didn't go according to plan. I think I've made the comment earlier about our special effects guy who walked with a limp and had 3 teeth missing. I was always a bit nervous whenever he was around.
That's what I surmise. Yes.
They weren't quite up to pyros in those
Somebody
days.
doesn't want us probing into what they're doing.
I'm afraid I wasn't able to find out anything before the picture disintegrated. But I'm interested to know that it was equipped to detect and deflect probing rays, even probes that the saps have never heard of, and destroy itself should the deflectors fail.
Always sounds such a derogatory term, the saps.
Well, it was meant to be. Yeah.
I suppose it was. But you're nice people, the Tomorrow People.
Short for sapiens, meaning obviously
Homo
wise.
superiors.
Yeah, sap was meant to be
So it's Ross'
derogatory.
idea again, Elizabeth. I don't think it can harm us.
Don't can harm us.
What have you found out about this Robert character?
Robert doesn't exist.
You mean he's a sort of mirage?
He checked birth, deaths and marriages, didn't he?
I mean merely that he has no official existence. Somerset House has no record of his birth, and there is no entry about him in any official records until he turns up on the register of your school. And something else.
Fascinating, all this, isn't it?
This could go on for the rest of it now. It's just you two going,
Oh,
If he'd searched St Catherine's house rather than Somerset House, he might have found a record, because they'd been moved from Somerset House by then, but never mind.
That's me going to school.
And if Robert can make things like those pictures, his knowledge is far advanced on what any school could teach him.
So why does he go? He doesn't have to, and he doesn't need to.
that was a cool turn.
Wasn't
Yeah.
it just? Very nice back of head shot.
Yes.
No, he isn't.
We should all have done shampoo commercials, really, shouldn't we? I mean, that would have been a great shot for Head and Shoulders, wouldn't it?
They just explained what an extraterrestrial was, because it wasn't a term that was in common usage then, was it?
I suppose it wasn't,
Before
really.
E.T.
No, we thought of it first. Some guy called Spielberg nicked it.
nicked it, yeah.
Well, he nicked Jedediah as well, didn't he?
Did he?
Jedi,
Oh, Jedi.
Yeah, that's where we got it from.
allegedly. He has a bit of a moment here.
Yeah.
They go mad with the chroma key.
Yeah, that works. That works okay. That's fine. That's a bit obvious.
Ah, look. He can see us. Damn, I've been rumbled.
Ooh.
It's very blurred.
Mm.
He needs a better aerial.
Oh, he's got a lot of
Vaseline over
Vaseline,
them.
yes.
Yes, it's Vaseline on the lens. Nice bum.
I was going to say, it's only worth mentioning once, I'm sure, but they are very tight trousers,
Oh,
aren't
yes,
they not?
yes.
Well, trousers were tight in the 70s.
They were, yes. We had to show off our goods. Especially to stay in the programme.
Or in Peter's case, a large sock down his trousers.
Oh, yes, Tim, what does it say?
Look at that for a night dress, eh?
I know, it's wicked. Straight from Argos.
And their advice to headmasters
Not a hair out of place. It's very Roger Moore, all that, isn't it? eh?
See that? Just for once,
No matter
they
what she's been through, not a hair out of
they
place.
happen to be wrong.
We don't know they're wrong, Elizabeth. We may be the ones who are wrong.
Well, let's hope we are. I'm not looking forward to school tomorrow.
Oh, she's got a cup of Horlicks in her hand there. Ah, back to the stock shot, the old Bedford van there.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
it's moving off. Not a stock shot then.
Well,
No cars on the road. Oh, those were the
I
days.
don't think it was significant that the van moved, was it? It just happened to.
Oh, do you reckon?
Fisheye lens here.
My, we are in a strange mood this morning.
They're not happy.
On one side, red and green badges on the other. What is this? Come on, mix yourselves up.
There's that psycho noise again.
There are
Yeah.
enough colour problems in the world already.
It's all going to kick off in a minute.
Blues and greens into the spectrum of hatred.
That's actually a very odd cut, that. I mean,
Johnson, come out here. Stay there. Todd? Right.
now makeup, like good chaps. Shake on it.
Yes. Now beat the hell out of each other.
She's wearing the same outfit she was wearing the other day, have you noticed?
Shake hands and show that you're still friends.
She's got
It's
blue and
schoolwear.
green on.
Budgetary restraints, I fear. Only had one cosy... Oh, dear.
I like Ray, because they were quite hard boys, actually, because they came from the East End. Man down.
I didn't mean to do it, miss, honest.
My word.
Oh, no. Oh, that wasn't the Bedford. That was an ambulance.
Now, this is actually, this is filmed location stuff
Yeah,
that is specific to this story.
absolutely. I can't remember where that was.
I think that's probably at the school as well. No, Turnham Green again.
Is it?
I think,
I
yeah.
don't recognise the building if it is.
I was going to say, it's interesting that they decided to film this if they already had an outside broadcast unit there.
Yes, you're right. It would not have been there. Eating again? Look at that.
Any news about
More Coca-Cola, not worried about rotting your teeth.
That's right.
Checked with the medical computers. He was not badly hurt. He's been treated for shock and sent home.
Poor Johnson, the police will charge him. But I don't think the kid even knew what he was doing.
I wonder if you can make a court believe that.
Well, he didn't. It would be unjust to punish him. He was being controlled, I saw.
What did you see, Stephen?
Well, as soon as it was over, Robert, he looked at the picture, and it changed. It must have been some sort of telepathic command from him.
Is that cardboard?
No, it's fish.
When he seemed to come out of his trance,
Tasted like cardboard, but
and
it
when
was
he saw what
fish.
he'd done, he was horrified.
And there she is.
Do something to help
The girl who knows her place.
Well, you'll get your chance. There's a teacher in charge when it happens. You'll be
Take these to the kitchen,
That's
Elizabeth.
a bit of a cod remark.
Yes, do the washing up when we finish, will you?
you're mad.
I've just had some important information. There have been incidents like yours all over the country today. Fights between groups of boys wearing blue and green.
There's the lovely shrunken tank
Many
top
of them
again.
much more serious. And in Glasgow, Leeds and Bristol, boys have been killed.
Oh, no.
In some schools, teachers have been drawn into the factions. In Birmingham, a teacher who wore a green badge is seriously ill after a knife attack from boys wearing blue badges.
More fool him for joining
Sounds
in.
like a normal Saturday afternoon on the terraces, really, doesn't it?
You know what this means, don't you?
Yes.
Dum, da, dum, dum.
Robert couldn't have controlled all those incidents. Well, he'd have his hands full as ours.
All those
As I
what?
could tell.
He says his hands full with ours.
We have to start looking for a lot more Roberts.
Well, Robert did say there were others who helped him. I wasn't sure if he was telling the truth, but he must be.
See, I didn't like saying all these lines because I had so many to remember and all that. That I used to really enjoy giving them to Nick or to anyone that would have them.
I've got an idea which might just work.
Well, most of mine did, didn't they? Oh, there we're being spied on again.
Yeah,
I
yes.
wonder how he managed to secrete the camera into the lab.
Through the painting.
That's it, you see.
Through the
A
painting.
hidden little
He's
camera.
paying attention.
Very negative response there. Actually, that really works. That stands up. That could be used today,
That works.
It's very psychedelic.
isn't it?
They could put it in a rave somewhere, couldn't they? Just have some music over the top.
They probably do.
Well, I'm sure they probably do, and there's this is a visual.
Oh, the bird must have flown away.
And what was that about?
I know.
Well, I think Nigel always used to like to put his own little gags in things.
Let alone the heavy side.
You going to say a word?
You minute.
No?
Yes,
That-
it's fine.
Oh, she
Oh,
said
she
yes,
says
that's
yes,
fine.
that's fine.
Well, that's 50 quid extra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Morning.
Of course, yes, it was very heavily unionised as well, so they couldn't have just got someone's wife in to do that, could they?
No.
Well, these were the 70s, and the union attitude was a real problem as far as the studio was concerned. You didn't dare move a chair even without the right guy doing the job, and if you did, they'd all go on strike. I mean, it sounds unbelievable nowadays, but that's how it was.
How on earth did it get like that?
Well, the unions over the years developed tremendous powers, and it was, I know it's very fashionable to criticise Mrs. Thatcher, but she realised the problem and attacked it. And by breaking it up, things became a lot more reasonable.
Are you a blue or a green?
Very much blue.
I mean, you mentioned the Conservative Party earlier in this story when...
well, I mean, the phrase was demarcation, and it literally meant if your job was to move chairs, then that was your job and nobody else was allowed to do it, and it would cause serious trouble if you did. I mean, if they couldn't just shout and say, "Oh, Nick, move that chair to the left a bit, will you?" While I was in the middle of doing something, because it would literally have caused a strike.
Yep, I had to get props to do that. Yeah. Quite right too.
And so that meant, 10 minutes while the prop guy was having his cup of tea finished his tea break. And, I mean, it sounds laughable, but that's how it was.
We still do it now, Nick. being a member of Back2 and a technician. Oh yes, we try and keep our jobs going.
But it had to be stopped because the country was literally collapsing in the 70s, literally collapsing. At the beginning, we had the 3-day working week, where the factories literally had to shut down.
Because there was the whole power cuts.
That's right, absolutely right. Well, there was a shortage of power, yes. But the country was collapsing. It would literally become a third world country. We were borrowing money off the International Monetary Fund. Times were hard.
Yes, it was very, very different then.
Yeah.
And this programme made everyone's life happier and enriched them each Monday evening.
Didn't enrich us, I don't think, very much.
I don't know.
Budget of £12,000 an episode, I think. But that's pretty meaningless now, but it wasn't very much.
Cripes! Look at the picture! Cripes.
Yes. I mean, nowadays, of course, they'd be saying something much, much stronger. Ooh,
oh.
John is possessed.
Yes, get away.
Hey, watch it, John! John, stop it! Chris, stop him!
Bit of a scrap.
You're right, kid.
Oh.
What were you thinking about there, Nicholas?
Oh, probably they haven't paid me again this week.
And what's happening here? Is it
very nasty?
Books flying around, or is it building collapsing?
Is it all... Oh, there's the painting.
Oh, I remember that, yes. They got me to stand there and said scream, and I let out a scream, and the entire studio burst out laughing because it was such an hysterical and wimpish scream. So, yes, it was it was sort of very sort of matron type noise. So we had to do it again 2 or 3 times. I think it worked right in the end there. Then.
Yes, I thought it was a nice ending.
Yeah.
She showed me her delighted pupils, and I showed her mine.